please mute yourselves unless you're actually actively asking a question, so that in case your phone rings or dog barks or somebody asks you a question and you forget that you're not muted, you won't go right to talking to them. And that has happened a couple times in the past. So yourselves unless you're and so we don't get feedback too. And then for our instructors who are on the call, I will, when your slide comes up, I will ask you to unmute yourself, and you can turn your, if you have your camera off at the moment, you can turn your camera on. We will spotlight you, and you can talk about your class. The slide will have the title of your class on it, your name, when the class is, and the delivery method, whether it's Zoom or in person or both. So, and I usually will talk through that, so you don't need to include that in your presentation. And please try to keep it to 2 minutes, no more than 2 minutes, so that we can get through everybody today.
We're good.
Okay.
This is Michelle. Sorry, this is Michelle. We're good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, it is 3 o'clock, so welcome everyone. Just a quick note to remind you that we are recording this, and it is available on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We believe we have it set up so we're not showing your pictures, but if you don't want your picture out there, you might want to turn your camera off as well. Please remain muted unless you are actively asking a question, or for my instructors when you are talking about your classes. Do feel free to to ask a question, to unmute yourself and ask a question, to or put the question in chat, and I'll be checking that as well. So welcome. Thank you all for joining me. You should be seeing my screen here for a taste of OLLI for our winter 2023 virtual open house. There we go. So our winter term, we're starting with a few classes next week, January 17th. Most of them are going to start after the 23rd and run through March 30th, through the end of March. Registration is open. It opened last week. However, we do still have plenty of seats available in most of our classes, so you are not too late. If you have not registered yet, that's okay. We're saving a space for you. Our annual membership, this is the part for people who are not familiar with OLLI at WVU. I'll go through this. OLLI membership is $30 annually. So, and our annual year is July 1st through June 30th. A membership with OLLI allows you to register for classes when you've paid your term enrollment fee. It gives you the right to be put on a waiting list if a class is full. You will also get at least one free, what we call special member event per term. So you don't have to pay the term enrollment fee for the special member events. You get access to our special interest groups without paying the term enrollment fee. And you also have discounts on travel that we might do, and just an opportunity to meet new people, to make friends, etc. So that's our membership. Some of these benefits. There you go. Ask a Geek. We have a professional technologist. You may have heard her talking earlier, Michelle. So as a member benefit, you can ask Michelle questions about technology. She's there to help you out. Special interest groups, such as Twilight Trivia. That's a monthly online Zoom trivia. We have a couple different book discussion groups. We also have a yarn arts group that meets every Monday afternoon here in Morgantown. And we have a couple of outdoor walking groups. We have one here in Morgantown that meets on Thursday mornings. And there's also now one in Charleston that meets on a monthly basis. The Writers Interest Group actually, unfortunately, is no longer active. But we do have a couple others as well. So special interest groups there's not necessarily a specific leader of the group. It's more a group of people who get together to share ideas in the topic, to share experiences in the topic, or just to have fun together. So some of our special member events this winter, we have a whole grain sampling day here in Morgantown. OLLI virtual happy hour every Sunday evening. Join us online to just chat about anything and everything that we want to. Oftentimes it's revolves around where are you from, pets, books you've read, sports, what classes are you taking, recipes, good movies you've seen lately, whatever. It's a lot of fun. We have every Sunday evening at 6:30. And also here in Morgantown this winter, Old Time Radio Shows performance. I'll talk a little bit later about the Old Time Radio Shows class where we'll be rehearsing for this performance. But once we do a few weeks of rehearsing, we're going to invite people to come and watch it. We did have a special member event set up for the Kanawha Valley, in person for the Kanawha Valley. And I have to apologize, it has been postponed now till summer term. So we are working on something to take its place. Also here in Morgantown this winter is our annual winter film forums. The two films we'll be watching this winter, Out of Africa and Exodus. And you'll see those are kind of all day things. We see the first half of the movie, we take a lunch break, and then see the second half of the movie and have discussion. So also available to members with a discount are field trips. We've gone to places such as the Cathedral of Learning Nationality Rooms up at the University of Pittsburgh. We've gone to the Phipps Conservatory and Botanical Gardens. We've gone to West Green Bank Radio Observatory. A lot of places within a day's drive of Morgantown and Charleston. We get a busload of people together and take a trip on that day. So a lot of fun. We don't have any this winter because weather is always a question, but we are planning 2 or 3 or 4 for the spring term. So watch for those. And then, of course, Zoom training. If you're interested in taking classes on Zoom, which many of our classes are offered on Zoom, and you've never used it before or just need a refresher, Michelle is available to help you learn how to use Zoom. So we do have, I talked about the term enrollment fee. So for every term during which you want to take classes, we have a flat $35 fee. That allows you to enroll in as many classes as you want. You can take one hour class, it'll cost you $35. You can take 20 classes that are anywhere from 60 minutes to 8 weeks of 2 hours each. It still costs you only $35. We do not want cost to be prohibitive of anybody joining OLLI or participating. So we do have financial assistance available. If you need, we don't ask for proof. We work on an honor system. There is an online application that we ask you to fill out, or you can call the office and we will help you fill that out. This winter, we have over 60 classes and events that are being held in person, on Zoom, or in a hybrid fashion, meaning the instructor is in the classroom, but also delivering content over Zoom. Before we delve into the list of classes, some of the classes that we have this winter, our instructors are going to talk about it. Are there any questions currently? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so first up is Kenton Colvin. Michelle is going to make Kenton a co-host here and put the spotlight on him so he can talk about his class. Are you with us, Kenton? I saw your name in the list here.
Yes, I am. Can you see me?
I don't have you. Yes, there you are.
Okay. Well, this class is a very interesting class. This race of 1800 was the first campaign in America history to actually pit competing political parties against each other. It was a vicious contest in America history, and the election ended actually in a tie, and the uncertainty fueled a lot of conspiracy theories and created an even more very tense political environment. Actually, people feared violence and civil war. The decision was actually then given to the House of Representatives, who after 36 ballots still were deadlocked. The 37th, Jefferson was declared the winner against John Adams, but that's a brief summary. I think you'll find I'm going to go into a lot of why what the different parties stood for and just why there was all this problem.
Wonderful, thank you. This is Kenton's class, 1800 presidential election, turning point in American history. It's on Thursday afternoon, January 19th, 12:45 to 2:30. It's going to be on Zoom and in person in Morgantown. So, and we do still have seats available. So next up is Jack Hammersmith. Jack, I see your name on the list here. There you are. You're still muted. Jack, you're still muted. Oh, you just about had it and you went back to mute. There you go.
Okay. I don't know if you can see me or not. If you
Yes.
can't, that's better for you. At any rate, I'm doing a course that's a bit different from things I've done recently. I've been concentrated on the American side, but I've had a couple of folks who said, didn't you teach something about Japan or China? And I got to thinking about that in the fall when several months in advance of an actual course, we have to decide what we think we'd like to teach. And it was the time Queen Elizabeth had just died and the royals were kicking up their heels a little bit. And I thought it might be interesting to contrast the English experience with the Japanese one, where we've had a monarchy for a very long time too, where we've had some long-term monarchs. Now, nobody recently to beat Elizabeth, who was over 70 years, but Hirohito, whom we'll talk a lot about, did have over 60 years. So it was a pretty good stretch and lots of things were happening during his reign, and a lot of questions about how effective or how much impact he specifically made during his campaign, or his reign, I should say, not campaign. So at any rate, one of the differences between the Japanese and the English experience is in terms of behavior, or maybe it's more in terms of a bureaucracy that suffocates our chance to see what that behavior is. But I think it is behavior. We don't have Harry and Meghan on television, or the equivalent in Japan, kind of airing the dirty laundry or making allegations that keep everybody up at night wondering who's right and who's wrong. The present monarch in Japan, of course, has a bit of a Morgantown connection. When he was a student at Oxford, he was a good friend of, and I've forgotten the individual's first name. It was a George family in town, but he came to Morgantown with his friend and spent a few days here. Oh, I think it was back in the 1970s. It's been quite a long time ago. So we'll talk about the origins of the Japanese monarchy, the impact that Shinto has had, the Shinto religion, which is interesting in that it's an all Japanese impact. You don't find Shinto anywhere else but Japan, because that's where the 8 million Shinto kami, or spirits, reside. We'll talk about the evolution of the monarchy, but particular emphasis on the 20th century and on such figures as Hirohito, and then his son Akihito, who had an American tutor who was really schooled from a Quaker woman from Philadelphia, and then the present monarch, who has been in office only 4 years. One of the impacts we do know the Japanese monarchy has had, and it's been a dismal one, is that particularly the empresses, or the consorts of the emperors, have really had some difficulties adjusting to all the demands of the Japanese monarchy. And we'll talk about that too. So I hope you'll join me. 2 classes that will examine the Japanese royals for OLLI in March. Thank you.
Thank you. So Yes, the other Royals, Japan's Enduring Legacy with Jack Hammersmith, Tuesdays, March 7 and 14, 10 a.m. to 11:45, both on Zoom and in person in Morgantown. So are there any questions so far? Okay. All right. So up next, John, I hate to put you on the spot like that. I'm sorry. I forgot to send the order out to everybody. You are actually up next. John Havman. I'm sorry for pronouncing that. Contemporary economic policy issues.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Hi.
Thanks, Jacina.
Welcome
and
back.
Haveman, no problem. Happy to be back. Happy to be back and presenting for OLLI at West Virginia University. You'll have to forgive my dogs in the background.
Yeah, Diana's Terry.
I'm very sorry. Hi.
Actually, just a reminder while he's out, if you're not speaking, please turn your mic off because I think we may have heard something from somebody else too. So thank you. And also while we're waiting, I'll just give a shout out to Felicia. If you're still logged on here and available, you'll be up next. So. Okay.
Let me try this. Maybe this will mute the dogs just a little bit.
Okay. Now we're good.
I do apologize.
That's okay.
All right. So I'm back with contemporary economic policy issues. I'm John Haveman, the Executive Director of NEED, the National Economic Education Delegation, and I am trying to get economists out into the wild, telling people what we know about important economic policy issues. So in this course, this time we will be talking a fair amount about trade and globalization. Alan Deerdorf will be with us on the first week to talk about international trade, how to think about it. Is it a problem? Is it a good thing, beneficial? And what were the impacts of trade and supply chains during during the pandemic? I'll be back in the second week to talk about the U.S. economy. In the third week, Alan will be back to talk about trade deficits and exchange rates. Trade deficits are often discussed in public, but I think very, very badly misunderstood. So Alan will provide some great insights into that. In the fourth week, we'll have Jeffrey Woglum from Amherst College in to talk about cryptocurrencies. The topic is a little bit more passé now than it was maybe 4 or 5 months ago, but he will talk about how to think about cryptocurrencies and what value might they ultimately add to the economy. And I'll be back in week 5 to talk about economic inequality. Currently, half of all the income in the United States goes to the top 10% of households. That's a higher concentration of income than we've experienced since the roaring 20s. And we'll talk about the implications of that. Is it important for economic growth? Is it important for fairness and equity in society? We'll talk about how to think about economic inequality. Then in week 6, we'll have Sarah Jacobson in from Williams College, who will talk about climate change economics. I think the policy responses to climate change are not very well understood, and Sarah is one of our better speakers. She'll come in and provide some great clarity on how to think about cap and trade system, carbon tax, how to think about not doing anything at all about climate change. What are the economic implications? So those are the 6 weeks of the course. I hope that some of those topics are of interest to you, and that we'll see you on January 25.
Wonderful. Thank you. I know that this course was very popular last time, and several of us are looking forward to updates and new topics as well. So contemporary economic policy issues, Wednesdays, January 25th through March 1st, 12:45 to 2:15, and that's going to be on Zoom. So next up is Felicia Carrera. Felicia, are you available?
Yeah, I did just get logged in.
There we are. Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect.
Felicia's going to be teaching.
Issue.
That's okay. Introduction to Spanish for us. And she is a late addition, so it's not in the catalog, but if you've been watching the Friday Bulletin, you've seen it on there. It is, and the class is available on our website to register for. So would you like to say a few words about your class?
Yes. It's pretty simple. It'll just be kind of like beginner Spanish. We'll talk just a little bit about simple grammar structure, some vocabulary that you can use in very simple conversation. Looking to gauge interest for the next semester of classes where we could teach a little bit more in depth, a little bit more carrying a conversation, speaking more in depth to people who actually speak Spanish. But these 4 classes will just kind of be an introduction to gauge that interest and see if you like to learn language and if you're good at it. But you don't have to be good at it, because you know what, learning something is always good, especially when you can communicate with someone from somewhere else. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wonderful. Thank you. A language, having a second language is something that's been asked for quite often over the past few years here at OLLI. So we're thrilled to have you with us. Introduction to Spanish. It's going to be 4 courses or 4 sessions, Tuesdays and Thursdays, January 24th through February 2nd, 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom. And I hear you might have a little bit of homework so that you can be prepared for the next time. So, but it should.
I will. There is a book that I will be using handouts for.
Wonderful.
Just practicing language every day or 3 or 4 times a week really helps it stick. So I'll have those handouts.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we are looking forward to having Felicia back with us then in the spring term as well. So thank you. So up next, we have Judy Warner. Judy is going to talk about her 2 classes, lap dulcimer, this meets on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. and also tin whistle, which you'll see in a minute when it meets. I'm sorry, I don't remember off the top of my head, but we have a slide about it. Judy?
Okay, I am teaching lap dulcimer again. We have had this previously at OLLI. This is different than some of the lecture classes where you sit back and listen. In the lap dulcimer class, you will have your own dulcimer. You will learn to play the dulcimer, and we will have dulcimers available for loan. You need to indicate that you need a dulcimer. The dulcimers are there at OLLI. You can go in ahead of time before the first class and pick up your dulcimer. One of the things that is unique about the dulcimer as a stringed instrument, it is tuned 2 different ways. And here in northern West Virginia, and we're including those that are down in Charleston. In Charleston, most of your local dulcimer players would not be tuned in this tuning, but for the class, we will be tuned in D, A, A. So if you need to go to somebody to help you get if you have a dulcimer already, the D is the string farthest away from you. The A is the middle string. The A is the 1 or 2, what we call melody strings that are closest to you. So that's probably the hardest thing, is getting ready for the class and getting your dulcimer tuned in DAA. In what we will learn, the parts of the dulcimer, the history of the dulcimer, it is a very Appalachian instrument. It is a very American instrument. There were some European predecessors, but it is primarily an American instrument. We're going to talk about the collection of songs, and there are many different types of songs. I get very interested in the history of songs, so I always throw in, where do these songs come from? How old are they? Who wrote them? You know, what is the pattern? But most of all, what we will learn is that music is fun. Music is relaxing. So we will have a good time. I always start with sing-along songs. I always say I do that so that you know when you make a mistake. So we will start with some very simple songs that you know how to sing. On the dulcimer, we often use what are called jam tunes. A jam is when instruments get together just for fun and we will learn some of those. Ballads are story songs. And then since it's almost time for St. Patrick's Day, we will definitely have to learn some Irish tunes. And Irish tunes go very well on both the dulcimer and on the tin whistle. In doing the dulcimer, it is a very easy instrument to learn. You don't have to read music. You don't have to have taken piano lessons and know how to read where the notes are on the staff. We will play on numbers. We will learn that the frets on our dulcimers have numbers. And when I show the music, the music will have numbers. So I encourage everybody to try it. And anyway, the other class that I'm teaching is the tin whistle. And the tin whistle and the dulcimer are both in the key of D, and so they go very well together. The tin whistle will be on Thursday morning, and again, it will be both by Zoom and in person. We will learn to play the fingering of the notes on the tin whistle, and we will learn that we can play in 2 octaves. We will learn a collection of popular tunes on the whistle. And again, I always like the history of the songs. And the other thing that's interesting with the tin whistle and the dulcimer both, that there are lots of places online. You don't have to run out and buy books of music, but you can go online to websites and get music for both your dulcimer and the tin whistle. So that's something that we will learn.
Wonderful. Thank you, Judy. Also, just want to throw out there, I assume you're going to bring some tin whistles here into the office for people
Yes,
to purchase if they need to.
One more slide.
Okay.
Think.
These were what you sent me.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay,
let me just say, yes, there will be whistles for sale. Unfortunately, they have gone up in price. The last time I bought them from Follies, I always get 30, 40 at a time, but there will be whistles in the OLLI office. I will have whistles at the first class. If you are an eager beaver and want to get your whistle ahead of time, you can go to Follies or to any local music store. The one thing, and evidently, because I already got an email about it, and if that person is online, I can't remember your name, but I apologize that you went to Follies and got the wrong whistle. We will be using a whistle in the key of D. D is in dog. And so whistles come in many different keys, and we will be learning the whistle in the key of D. So you will need to have a key of D whistle. They will be $15 either at Follies or from OLLI. So when I looked online to see if their prices had also gone up, most of the ones on Amazon were $18, $19.
So they have gone up a little bit. So
they have definitely gone
yeah.
up since the last time I was selling them.
A lot of things have. OLLI has not, but a lot of things have. Okay.
Right.
Well, thank you, Judy. Appreciate it. And again, both of her classes are on Zoom and in person here in Morgantown. So if you are not in the Morgantown area, or you can't get here to the mall, you can always do it on Zoom. So thank you.
We will be here.
Okay. Up next, we have Indigenous Appalachia, an exhibit tour and discussion led by Sally Brown. Is Sally with us? Would you like to speak about this experience?
Yes, thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Of course. Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So right now we have this exhibition that is up in the WVU Downtown Library, Indigenous Appalachia, including artwork by 15 Indigenous artists. And so the first Zoom, I kind of go over the curatorial process, working with the artists and the Indigenous scholars and the Native nations to put this exhibition together. It was a big process, and I kind of give a little preview for the exhibition so you kind of know what you're going to be looking at. And then on the 23rd, you can tour the exhibition, and we can have a post-exhibition discussion about the artwork and everything that you view. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Wonderful. Thank you. Actually caught a little preview of it when I was at the library last time. It's very interesting.
cool.
So we're
Thank you.
excited about this. And again, there's a on Zoom, you can join us. So even if you're not in the Morgantown area, you can learn about it and see some of the work on Tuesday, February 17th at 10 a.m. And then if you are in the area, you can join us on the 23rd at the library and tour the exhibit. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have Andrea Elkins, and Andrea is going to talk about fairy tale theater.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How are you doing? So Fairy Tale Theater was a series of 27 episodes, and students will learn about the stars of fairy tale theater and the 27 episodes that they starred in. You will learn what inspired Shelley Duvall to do fairy tale theater and how it got started. Part 1, we will discuss famous authors like the Brothers Grimm, Hans Christian Andersen, and Shirley Temple Storybook Theater, and several TV shows and movies that were based on fairy tales. Part 2, we will talk about the music and the visual artists featured in this series, and we'll talk about the career of Shelley Duvall and her other projects. Fairy tale theater set designs were inspired by artists by such as Maxfield Parrish, Norman Rockwell, Clement N.C. Wythe. The series featured lots of TV and movie stars that mom and dads and grandparents know, plus really good retelling of the classic series and pretty good special effects of the 1980s. Some of the most popular TV and movie stars in fairy tale theater are James Earl Jones, Carrie Fisher, Matthew Broderick, Jeff Bridges. For any of you Spock fans out there, Leonard Nimoy, John Lithgow, Robin Williams, Brian Dennehy, Terry Garr, Liza Minnelli, Christopher Reeve, Bernadette Peters, Burgess Meredith, Eve Arden, Art Carney, Alan Arkin, Billy Crystal, and Jeff Goldblum. I hope that my class will inspire you to watch this series. So sign up for this class Tuesday mornings, January 17th and the 24th. Hope to see you there.
Thank you, Andrea. Yeah, and that class is on Zoom, so we're looking forward to it. Okay, so up next actually is my class, and then I will go through this really quickly. As I promised, this is old time radio shows. This is where we are going to rehearse to do the performance. So a group of us will get together and we will look at some options such as Dragnet or Only the Shadow Knows or The Crypt Keeper, old radio shows. We'll find the scripts for those, and the OLLI members in the class will do the roles. You don't have to memorize things. You will be, you'll have the script in front of you, but you can have fun with voices and characters, and we will have sound effects too. So phones ringing and doors slamming and footsteps, etc. We'll rehearse on Monday afternoons from January 30th to March 13th. And then on Monday, January 20th, that afternoon, we will actually do a performance for anyone who wants to come. This is an in-person only class. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you and hearing your voice. So if you have a radio voice or ever wanted to try some acting, this is a low pressure, fun way to try it. So next we have a new instructor to us, Irv, and I am sorry if I'm going to mispronounce your last name, Lubliner.
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 Lubliner. There's
Lubliner.
there's
Okay,
a city in
Lubliner.
Poland, which is Lublin, and if you came from Lublin, you're a Lubliner.
Gotcha. Okay, well, your class, Only Hope, My Mother and the Holocaust Brought to Life, is going to be on Tuesday, March 14th from 1 to 3 on Zoom. Would you like to tell us about it?
I would very much like to do so. As Jacinta just said, I'm new to your OLLI, but this is a presentation that I've now done 71 times for OLLIs around the country. And with the others scheduled for the next few months, it turns out the total is exactly 100. So I'm looking forward to presenting to your group. I'm coming to you from Southern Oregon. I live in Ashland, Oregon, where I'm a member, an instructor, and a former council member of the OLLI program at Southern Oregon University. And I'm eager to introduce you to my mother, Felicia Bornstein Lubliner. Now you got me saying it wrong, Jacinta.
I'm sorry.
I'm eager to introduce you to my mother, whose life as a 16-year-old in Poland was interrupted by the Nazi invasion in 1939. A survivor of the Lodz ghetto and the Auschwitz and Gross-Rosen concentration camps, my mother came to the US in 1949, and she mastered the English language and wrote impacting stories and delivered powerful presentations to share her experiences. When she passed away almost 49 years ago, I inherited her written narratives and the recordings of oral presentations she delivered as a guest lecturer at San Francisco State University, and I've shared them in many middle school, high school, and college classrooms over the years. And the encouragement of students and parents and teachers motivated me to create a publishing company. In 2019, I created Falabra Press. The name Falabra is a hybrid of my mother's nickname Fela and my father's name Abram, and to honor them, they were both Holocaust survivors. I named my publishing company Falabra, and I did this to see to it that my mother's stories would reach a wider audience. I published her stories as Only Hope, a survivor's stories of the Holocaust, and I contributed to the book by writing its foreword and afterword to shed light on how I, the child of 2 Holocaust survivors, have been impacted by their experiences. I invite you to meet my mom and experience her indomitable spirit through her writings and recorded oral presentations. And I thank you very much for this opportunity to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're looking forward to it. And now, Michelle, would you like to come and talk about your classes? Michelle's offering several different classes for us this winter, and some of them are repeats, but others got some new information in them. So, are you back there somewhere, Michelle?
Yes. Oh, I didn't spotlight myself. Ha ha. Sorry about that. I will be, as I try to do every semester, I will be doing technology security. And just so you know, following this semester, I'm actually going to be splitting that up into 4 separate sessions that theoretically can be taken interdependently. So that will be coming up the following session after that. I am also, I believe, doing digital decluttering. So if you have all of these files on your computer and you don't know what to do with it, I have a bunch of recommendations for you. Pardon me. And that will be both Zoom and in person.
Yeah, I believe all of these classes, the technology security is as well as the next one, which is.
Oh, yes. And I'm also I'm updating sorry, I was thinking about spring term and I lost track of what I was doing. I will be doing the Facebook class, and the first half of this class will focus on a lot of the scandals and information about what Facebook has been doing. And the second half will be a bit of a question and answer as far as you asking, like, how do I do this in Facebook? So it'll be 2 parts. The first part is learning about Facebook and the things it does. The second part is manipulating Facebook. And I believe I also will be doing a Microsoft Office Suite session that will be 1 week in March. And even if you are already familiar with Microsoft Office, I do strongly recommend that you take the basics class, because I will be covering a bunch of stuff that you don't know that you don't know.
There's always updates to it. I mean, I learn stuff all the time about what's changed in Microsoft Office. And so, yeah, it's computer camp in late March. Basics using Word, using PowerPoint, and using Excel. So unfortunately, the using Microsoft, that's going to be in person only. So we are looking at ways to be able to offer this in the Kanawha Valley at some point in the future. But for right now, it's just in person in Morgantown. So thank you. Up next, we have Russ Hutchins. Russ, are you still with us? Russ is a late addition to the catalog, but we're thrilled that he's joining us. So it's not in your catalog, but again, if you visit the online catalog, it's in there. There's an announcement about it in the Friday Bulletin, and it is in the registration software. So welcome back, Russ.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. Sunny day here in Charleston, so hopefully it's not blocking my view here. OSA and Johnson are fascinating people, husband and wife. In the 1920s and 30s, were film makers, originally silent movies, and then voice. They were documentaries of wild animals and the native peoples in Borneo, in the South Pacific, the Solomon Islands, and then also in Africa. They took 5 different safaris to Africa. On the second safari, I believe, they lived there 1 year. They built a house on a lake and observed the wildlife. The last safari went by airplane, and they traveled the length of the Nile, all the way up and down the east side of Africa, filming and visiting, documenting people. This was way before Mutual of Omaha Wild Kingdom. The films were used in some respects by the early Tarzan movies. Osa stood by Martin with a gun while Martin filmed. Martin cranked the cameras and ran the cameras and got the wildlife up close. And when they got too close, she fired bullets into the ground or above the heads, but sometimes she had to kill the animal, which she didn't want to. Interesting people, fantastic experiences, living in tents and taking safaris in Africa, or having close encounters, close calls with headhunters in the Solomon Islands and visiting orangutans. So come join me in March. This will be by Zoom, and we'll find out the curious life and the adventures of Osa and Martin Johnson of Chanute, Kansas.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining us again. Russ is also already submitted for spring, as have several other of our instructors. So we're looking forward to their spring classes as well. So I did notice Sumitra is with us, and would you like to speak, Sumitra? I'm sorry, I don't have a slide for your class, but if you would like to talk about your class for a minute, absolutely welcome to. Don't want to put you on the spot. Okay. So Sumitra is going to be teaching Indo-European languages that tie 3 billion people of the world. That class is being offered on Tuesdays, January 24th and 31st from 12:45 to 2:30 on Zoom. And here in Morgantown, if you would like to come in and watch it on the big screen, you can do that here as well. So we are going to be streaming it into our classroom here in Morgantown. So would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jessina, and good afternoon. Some years ago, maybe 10 years ago, Regine Zealand, our esteemed OLLI member, suggested that there should be a series of classes on world languages. And at that time, Alice Frost taught Latin, Then Janet came, taught ancient Greek. And my job was to teach Sanskrit, and there were other classes like on Arabic and few other world languages. And the idea was not to teach the language because it was just a session, just to give you an overview and talk about the language. So this time, I thought, why not teach a series of languages that are connected under the umbrella of Indo-European languages. So, and I think in my bio, I wrote that when I was growing up in India, my mother tongue is Bengali. That's still my best language. And I was born during the British times. So we had to learn English, and Hindi being the national language, we all had to learn English. And then Sanskrit was compulsory, just like Latin used to be in this country years ago, maybe 40 years ago. So anyway, my personal experience, I was exposed to a variety of Indo-European languages without knowing that they come from the same family, and that ancestor was long time ago existed under Proto-Indo-European languages. But anyway, that's the history and about my personal experience now. So while preparing for the class, I came across many interesting features of the English language, like there used to be 6 more letters and they don't exist anymore. And while learning English, I can tell you that, you know, like the verb see, the past tense is saw, and then tell is told, and, you know, a whole lot of things we had to memorize. So anyway, it was easy. But anyway, I will share with you the common features and how the alphabet came into existence, and other interesting ideas which connect these languages, how people know that these are the related languages. How come it's not Hebrew or Arabic? Well, they belong to a different family. They are the Semitic languages. So mine will be mostly on Indo-European languages, which cover almost all of the European countries, and except the Basque language in Spain, and also part of Asia, not China, but northern part of India, where I come from Calcutta. And then the Persian language, not the Arabic. And also we'll find out how religion or political situation can affect the language of a country. Like Persian was a pure Indo-European language, but when Persia became Muslim, a lot of Arabic words came into the language. Same thing happened in this country. When Europeans settled here, English became the language of the country. But anyway, so that's my 2 cents worth on the subject.
Thank you.
I just wanted to tell you I'm thoroughly enjoying what I'm learning, and love to share with my class what I know.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sumitra. And since we don't have a slide for it, I'll just reiterate. Sumitra's class is Indo-European languages that tie 3 billion people of the world. It's on Tuesdays, January 24th and 31st at 12:45, and it's on Zoom. So thank you. All right. Before I move on to community events, are there any instructors with us that I forgot to mention that volunteered to say something about your course? Okay. I just want to say, before I move on, also a big thank you to all of our instructors. For those of you who don't know, they are volunteers. They volunteer their time, their knowledge. Yes.
Hey, Justina, I didn't get to talk about my second course that I'm offering.
Oh my, I'm so sorry, Kenton. Why don't you go ahead and come on and talk about that? I completely missed your second one. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
Yes, yeah.
I thought I was going to come up later, and
Yeah, no, and it's right underneath your first one too. Let's see if Michelle can, yeah, she was able to. Okay, so Kenton is teaching the second one, History and Impact of Manufacturing on American Society. And this is on Thursdays, February 2nd through 16th at 12:45. And it's on Zoom, and he will also be in Classroom B, so it's in person in Morgantown.
Yes, well, just briefly, this is an encore. I presented this a few years ago, but basically it talks about the course is a lot about the Industrial Revolution, how it started and how it came to America and how it influenced the lives of the people in America and what the impact was, how much it really changed the way we lived and what impact was throughout the history of America, all the way up to today. I'll be talking about what manufacturing is and how it's done and how it changed over time. And I'll be talking about things like the assembly line with Ford Motor Company and just a lot of interesting topics along the way, which will get you a chance to find out just what the impact of manufacturing did on the total American society, including living and urban, just factories, everything. I'm just going to touch a little bit on everything. It'll be a 3-week class.
Wonderful. Thank you. And my apologies. So again, before we move on, thank you to all of our wonderful volunteer instructors. And I realize that this is only a small part or a small selection of the classes that we are offering. We have numerous other instructors who weren't able to be with us today to talk about their classes in topics from arts, science, history, literature, philosophy, and religion, health and wellness, social sciences. So remember that number. We have over 60 opportunities this winter. So there are several others besides just the ones that you've heard about so far. So also for our communities, OLLI likes to do workout in the communities as well. We partner with a lot of community organizations to offer opportunities usually free of charge and open to the public. So some of the partnerships that we've done in the past and we continue to do have been with the Community Coalition for Social Justice, Main Street Morgantown, the City of Morgantown, WVU Retirees, the WVU Committee of Retired Faculty, the Shack Neighborhood House, Festival down in the Kanawha Valley area. We are looking, if you are listening and from the Kanawha Valley, we are looking for opportunities to partner with organizations in the Kanawha Valley as well. This winter, some of those specific events include Tai Chi classes. We offer introduction to Tai Chi and intermediate Tai Chi every Saturday morning at the Shack Neighborhood House, and it is free and open to the public. The Community Coalition of Social Justice and Morgantown and Main Street Morgantown and OLLI. OLLI is helping them with their Martin Luther King Jr. Day annual family celebration that is on Zoom, and the title of this year's event is Telling West Virginia's Stories and Dreams. So that is open to everybody. It is on Zoom. Also, we have coming up this week a presentation that we are co-hosting with the WVU Committee for Retired Faculty, and that is PEIA and Humana for WVU retirees in 2023. Allison, was there anything else you wanted to say about that event? Okay, no worries. No, go ahead.
Yes, if you have any questions or concerns, you should bring them, or you can even submit them early to me, and I'll make sure that they get answered or addressed by either Jan or Joe.
Okay. Wonderful. You can email them to the OLLI office as well, and I'll make sure that they get passed along to Allison. These events, whether they're in person or on Zoom, we do ask you to register in advance for them so that we are aware of who's coming, and if it's on Zoom, so you will get the Zoom link on the day of the event. And you can register on our website, olli@wvu.org. That's OLLIAT. WVU.org. and look for the community events button. There's a gold community events button on the right-hand side. All of these events are listed in there and you can sign up at that location. And again, all of these things these three here, community events are free and open to the public. Just a couple words about OLLI in the ages of COVID, because we're still here somewhat. Masks are recommended in our classrooms. They are not required, but we do encourage you, if you want to wear a mask, if you feel more comfortable wearing a mask, you are absolutely welcome to do so. We understand. And if you are not feeling well, we actually recommend that you stay home and maybe catch a recording or watch it on Zoom with us if it's offered on Zoom. But masks are absolutely welcome in the classroom. We are still limiting in-person seating, opening up a few more seats, but we used to have 48 people in the classroom. We're trying to keep it down to about 28 now. So be sure, if you want to come in person, that you register in advance. Let us know that you're coming. If you are not able to make it, if you've registered to come in person and can't be here, can't make it, you're going to watch on Zoom instead, or something comes up, please give us a call as soon as you know, so that we can open it up to the next person on the wait list. Also, encourage you to stay up to date on the latest OLLI news. As I said earlier, we had some added classes that aren't in the catalog. You stay up to date on the latest information, class changes, added events, thoughts, recommendations, etc., by getting our Friday e-bulletin. We produce an electronic email bulletin every Friday, goes out at noon, and you can visit our website, click on the gold news button, and find all of that information there. You can also subscribe to the bulletin by sending us an email or giving us a call in the office. Registration, as I said, is ongoing. Forgot to update this picture. You can register by phone at 304-293-1793 or on our website. This one's a little longer, but you can go to olli.wvu.org and click on the register or join button there. A couple other events this week before I open it up to questions. Tomorrow we are having an in-person open house here in Morgantown at the Mountaineer Mall in Classroom B at 3 o'clock from 3 to 4:30. So if you'd like to join us for some light refreshments, meet some of the board members, meet a few of the instructors, meet other OLLI members, feel free to join us. Also, we are having an in-person open house in the Canal Valley on Thursday at the same time, 3 o'clock, 3 to 4:30. Same programming, but it's focusing on the Canal Valley, and it'll be held at the Schoenbaum Family Enrichment Center. So are there any questions? Comments? Wow. 1 hour today. Thank you so much for, we do have a question here. We have the directory deadline. Okay, so those of you who are already OLLI members or have been OLLI members in the recent past and know about our directory, the deadline, off the top of my head, I don't know, but let's say by the end of next week, send us that information for the OLLI member directory, and we'll start working on it right after that. Are there any other questions?
Justina Bill V.
Yeah.
Is Susan on by any chance?
Susan, I don't believe she is available, no.
Okay. I'm going to be in transit. Would you let her know I would like to, but I'm unable to be at the open house in Charleston?
I will do that. Yes. Thank you for letting me know. So, okay. Well, if that's everything, thank you all for joining us, and I hope to see you in a class. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's just